If you've been following my channel for a while, you're probably like, why are you doing another beard dye video? You already did one. So that video did really well, which I'm super stoked about. But because of so many views, I've been able to hear from so many people who have used the Just for Men dye that I recommended in it and have had a lot of allergic reactions. I'm sorry to hear that. I wasn't aware with such a dominant brand in the industry. I mean, you see this in every store. I've just never had an allergic reaction, so it just didn't even occur to me. But when I started to read the comments, it seemed like there was a lot of people that had some sort of reaction to it based on certain allergens that were in this. Obviously, we're all uniquely created and our biochemistry is different. You don't know why. I've never had an issue, like I said, not sure why. But this follow-up is because I was lucky enough to be approached by this brand that is yet to be released, but very soon, which stay tuned for that release date, called Simpler Hair Color. So Simpler Hair Color is basically an alternative to Just for Men, and I'll tell you why it's so much better. So in truth, I didn't really find Simpler Hair Color, they found me. They went on YouTube and came across my previous beard dye video I mentioned and asked if I'd be interested in doing beta testing as they develop the product approaching launch, which I'm going to give you all that information soon. So I got to know the owner over the last 6 months or so, and he's just been an awesome, humble guy, very intelligent and very dedicated to creating an outstanding product that I can absolutely stand behind. I didn't want to mention anything about it until I had a really good amount of time to do many dyes and to be able to give my feedback and help with the overall process before it ends up in your guys' hands. All right, so let's do a quick unboxing, just kind of talk about why you should consider switching to Simpler, or at least give it a try when compared to Just for Men. Comes in a really nice box. The branding and marketing is awesome. It's just simple, clean, I like it, and simpler. Comes in this nice little kind of velvety pouch, and it's kind of cool. It has like a personal message from the founder in there, which is kind of a nice touch. I like that. So when you open this up, what's cool is that it's actually a really big can. I mean, compared to Just for Men, like Just for Men, you know, you have these like 2 little tubes, right? And they don't last long. Not only that, but the way this can's designed, oxygen really never reaches it, and you can use it for up to 3 months. So with Just for Men, you gotta buy multiple boxes every month. So obviously that can get costly, and it's just kind of wasteful when you think about the packaging, the plastics, all that and stuff. So yeah, another awesome thing about this is that it has this 2-spout design. So the color and the developer come out at the exact same time, which is really cool. With Just for Men, you have to squeeze out of 2 different tubes, mix it together. This, you just take it and it'll just go right on the brush, which is cool. That's the next thing that I really love. It's such an improvement compared to the Just for Men brush. So it's this really ergonomic design, and it has soft bristles on the end that are more concentrated, and then these larger ones here. So, and before I forget, I want to mention you can use this on the hair on your head as well. It's meant more for touch-ups. You could do your whole head, but I would say that just to, you know, save this more for your beard, maybe get a hair dye, but you know, don't quote me. I'm gonna have to check with the owner and just see what he thinks. I haven't done it on my head. I don't dye my hair on my head as of yet. I just happen to have a very gray beard that went gray early. So with this brush, like I said, you just squeeze and it'll go all along there. And with this design, I feel like you can do like really fine little spots, and it's just, you cover more area much faster. So it's simpler. It really is. It's much quicker than Just for Men, as their brush is this tiny little guy right here. It's not bad, but I definitely prefer this one. But let's really get into the meat and potatoes of why I think this product is so much better. For one, it's a thicker dye, so it doesn't really drip. That can happen with Just for Men. But more importantly, based again on the feedback I've heard from so many people, and I do think that more people are more health conscious than ever, just based on more access to information and what's come to light about certain chemicals in a lot of really common products that we all use. So Let's start with this. No PPD. This is huge. If you know anything about chemicals, this could be, one of the things in Just for Men that may have given you that reaction. No ammonia, no parabens, gluten, cruelty, animal testing free and safe, and it's an all-natural propellant and is recyclable. So, not bad, right? And so the dye is formulated in Italy and manufactured in Germany. And so all this stuff's great, right? But the big question is, does it work good? Yes, and I'm about to show you right now. And again, it's going to be coming soon, but more information after the dye process on pricing, where to get it, memberships, and the actual launch date. All right, so before you get started, if you are dyeing at home, make sure that you wash your beard, because the natural oils in your skin and your hair are going to repel from the dye holding, and you definitely don't want that if you're someone who has as much silver, gray, white in your beard as I do, because it's even harder to get dye to hold. I tend to leave my dye in longer for that reason, so that's another tip that might help even if you're not using this particular dye. All right, good news is the prep is extremely minimal. Before I get too far along too, when I do dye jobs, they last usually about a week and a half to 2 weeks. You start to see it obviously based on how long your hair is to begin with until the growth underneath can really show up. So you can get a pretty good stretch out of it. And honestly, when you have it down, you get used to doing this, it's not that time consuming. And why do you do it to begin with? Some people prefer a more youthful look. I have to do it for work when certain clients want me on the younger side of the demographic versus older. But whatever your reason may be, if it makes you feel better, what's the big deal? I read so many comments from trolls and stuff that were like hating on dyeing your beard, and it's like, what do you care? It's people's own choice, it's their hair, so whatever. So what's cool with this package is it comes with a little packet of petroleum jelly, which is really helpful because you can run this along just the very outer edge of the spots where you don't want your skin to get dye. So it's cool that they include that. One less thing you gotta buy or worry about. Next, they include these reusable gloves. Pretty sweet, right? I believe, yes, they are black, which is kind of cool. All the branding is a nice touch, and it also comes with a cleansing wipe, which you're going to want to have on hand while you dye, because sometimes when you go over a little bit, you can just use it for touch-up so it doesn't dye your skin, like I said. So I'm going to put these on, and I will apply the dye to the brush next. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to put some on here. So the first squeeze, you might get a little bit more developer than the dye at first. That's all right. It can just work its way in. So you can see a little bit, it's like half and half. This is the dye, that's the developer, or that's the color. And then you just start to apply. So I like to start with, see, I go in circles, that way it's like mixing as I put it on. I like to start with the areas of my beard that are the absolute lightest, because those are likely the areas that are going to have the hardest time holding the color, right? And I will time lapse this for you guys so it doesn't bore you to tears. The clock is set for 15 minutes. Again, you may not have to do that long if you don't have as much gray. Sometimes too, if I just want more of the developer, more of the color than the developer, I'll like turn it to the side so that this colored part, this like pink up here, I'm using way more than I need to right now. It's just because it was a fresh can and I let it sit for a while and it probably just got a little bit clogged. But you can see it's already taking. Okay, so I used way more than I needed to. I just wanted to be sure, obviously, not in my normal bathroom setting, so it's just a little bit harder to tell with this tiny mirror and everything, and I want it to turn out good, obviously. I went over a little bit on some stuff here, but overall it looks like it's pretty good. Now I just wait. Got a little timer set on my phone. time to kill, so have you already heard my stupid human trick? The cricket? What do you think? Like this video if you think that's a good cricket. Okay, it's about time, I believe. There's the timer. 15 minutes later. Stop. All right, I'm gonna go wash this out. Quick tip, make sure you don't use face wash to wash it out. Go with like a gentle shampoo. Face wash is gonna pull the dye out a little bit more so than shampoo would because of the detergents used in a lot of cleaners. All right, what do you think? Not bad, right? Pretty amazing, you know, considering it doesn't have a lot of those ingredients that obviously I'm sure they use for potency and for dye hold, who knows, but it looks very natural. And believe me, when you do Just for Men, right after you do it, it's really intense. Kind of looks like, you know, your skin's dyed very heavily. I feel like this dye by Simpler doesn't dye your skin as strongly, and so if this might look maybe too intense for your liking, we gotta keep in mind that by tomorrow, it's gonna look really natural, as the natural oils of my skin are gonna take care of that, the dye that's kind of dyed on my skin, so it'll look even more natural at that point. I will say, I didn't quite get certain edges right here. There's a little bit of silver and gray showing. That's because I kind of rushed the stage of rubbing the petroleum around it, so the petroleum kind of covered those hairs. Otherwise, those would have dyed just fine, no problem. So yeah, I think it turned out awesome. It looks very natural. It matches my hair color perfectly. So the next thing I do is I take a beard brush. I really like this one by Viking Revolution. I have a link in my description for all the different products I like to use because there's quite a bit now after all these different videos. If you're curious, my Amazon shop has everything in there all organized. So I take this and I brush so I can kind of see if I got it, you know, very even with the dye. It just helps me get a better idea. Nice and finished. By the way, this works awesome on your hair too. I use it as a very last stage of doing my hair. Also, another awesome thing you're gonna wanna have on hand is a temporary beard brush coloring tool. This one's by Blackbeard, also in my Amazon shop if you're not sure where to get it. And what you can do is those little areas, it's really hard to always do a perfect dye job every single time. So what this can do is just take care of like some of those tiny little silver hairs that are on the edge in case you just mess up and you're like, crap, I don't want to have to do that all over again. You just kind of run along. Look a lot younger. If you look back to the beginning of the video with the gray, it's a big difference, right? So if you want that youthful effect, this is where it's at, and it's safe. You don't have to worry about the chemicals, and Just for Men has been dominating the market for so long. So it's just a breath of fresh air to have Simpler Hair Color come along and bring out such a good product with an improved design, making it easier to use on top of that. All right, so they are gonna launch on January 29th, 2020. So maybe by the time this video's out, already good to go. You get it direct from their website for now. That might change by the time you watch this video. simplerhaircolor.com. All the information is in the video description below or on the screen. What's cool is they do have free shipping and free returns, so if you don't love it, it's all on them. That's pretty awesome, pretty risk-free in that regard. It looks like it's $45 for one-time purchase, but remember how long the bottle lasts. You will spend way more on Just for Men with multiple boxes to keep up the uptake for up to 3 months, right? And it looks like it's $39 if you subscribe to a membership every 1 to 6 months. So membership's kind of cool, so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, so that is that. So if you have any questions or I might have overlooked something, I apologize. Drop me a comment below. And also, I want to say, by this time, I might have to switch my channel over to a brand channel. It's this distinction that YouTube does versus like a personal account or whatever. And in the process, it might delete all my comments, all my replies over the last couple of years that I've done to you guys. So if you're new to my channel and you don't see replies from me, that could be why. They were there, but it's just part of the deal when you switch over. which is really frustrating because I love getting back to you guys and hearing from you. So yeah, on that note, make sure you follow me on Instagram if you want to connect even more. I have a few accounts on there, including the menswear line. Let's see, I do have free downloads for you before you go as a gift to you. One is top 10 Instagram growth tips for models, influencers, and public figures. The other is how to eat, train, and supplement like a cover model. That's going to go into the overarching concepts of my diet and train all year to stay in shape for work. And again, make sure you check out my menswear line if you haven't yet. I think you're really going to love the pieces. I designed them for my own taste and the things that I wanted in my wardrobe. So I really hope you guys love the fits, because that's what I focused on most, and quality. So check out the account on Instagram, and make sure you subscribe to the VIP newsletter. You'll get 10% off your first purchase from my store. What else? And yeah, I just want to thank Simpler again for letting me be part of the process with this awesome product coming to the market to you guys. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it. I'm sure you're gonna love it. I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't. As I always say on my channel, I try to be as genuine as possible. I do not want to tell you guys to use anything if I don't use it and I don't love it. I have had a lot of companies approach me, and I just look the other way most times because either I don't identify with the brand, I don't think it's a good product, and I'm not about to refer anything just for the sake of money. I don't believe in that whatsoever, and I stand on integrity for the channel, and I hope that's helped you guys because all the feedback I've got, you guys seem to love all the things I love, so it's cool to connect with you guys and just be on the same page. I'm rambling, this video is way too long. Thank you for being here. Again, if you haven't yet, click subscribe. I have new videos each and every week, and I will see you guys next time.